All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol OCGN, Ocugen Inc. Before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back, and let's jump into this chart. So Ocugen has done some sideways movement here. It's looking like a consolidation period. We want to see if it continues in this channel, but for this stock to hold itself up, it cannot continue this slight downward movement. It's very subtle. You don't notice it unless you really zoom out and pay close attention to it. It's going in that downward direction. Even though it came back up, it's just going downwards. It's creating new peaks and newer highs, but newer drops every time. We talked about that yesterday, and we want to see that closely here. Now, the most important support level down here is 162. As long as that doesn't get broken through, we won't see newer lows. But this stock needs to pull back from this downward trend. It needs to start building momentum in the upward direction. Maybe things have quieted down a little bit, but so far it's holding itself up pretty nicely. It's not just dropping down to newer lows fairly quickly, but that subtle drop, and it's very quiet downward direction, is something to watch for, because you won't notice unless you really zoom out and you pay close attention to how the stock's behaving. You'll see it move up and down, and you're like, oh, it hasn't hit newer lows. It's kind of hanging out just fine. But, I mean, it reached these highs up here of 228. It fell back down. It kind of brought itself back up to $2, and now we're below it. I did talk about staying slightly above $2 is an important point. But now we have our support here, 186. You want to keep that in mind, because that's yesterday's support leading into today's day. I'm going to move it over to today's low. It moved up just a little bit, but 186 is important to keep in mind as well before paying attention to 162 and all these other lows that we shouldn't worry too much about just yet. Now, the resistance here, 228, very important resistance level moving forward. Why? Because that's the first resistance level as of right now above the 50-day moving average and the highest point before this continued to fall. Even though this slightly came back up, that is the most important resistance level before this continued this downward trend. Now we're going to move our resistance to its new location. This is a very narrow stretch here, so we want to keep in mind these broader numbers here at 162. We want to keep in mind 228, and then the next highest point up here, which is very important for the bulls to break through and continue to work their way up to 270, 271, give or take. So let's look at what's important moving forward here in the next coming days based off the chart and how it reacted today. Like I said, it was a very slow, subtle movement, but in the downward direction. There's not a lot of volatility here, but it's going downwards in a very subtle way. And we're below $2 right now. We're at 194. So the 50-day moving average is 209. The bulls definitely want to break through that to get back into bullish territory. Our support here is 190. If that gets broken through, this could be on its way down to newer lows, newer support levels, and pulling further away from the 50-day moving average in a downward direction. So we want to keep that in mind. We want to watch the behavior here. The more support levels get broken through, the further down we're getting into bearish territory and pulling further away from the 50-day moving average. Very important to watch this and keep that in mind. The resistance level is 205. If 205 gets broken through and turned into a support, the bulls do not have a guaranteed outcome just because they broke through it and broke through this resistance and turned it into a support, which is 205, that they're going to break through the 50-day moving average. It doesn't guarantee them back into bullish territory. This is just an indicator to let us know as investors that the momentum is moving upwards and that the bulls can use this as support to pull up further into bullish territory. It is very important to keep that in mind. This is not a guarantee. This just means that the bulls are getting closer to the 50-day moving average and that the momentum is working its way up to newer highs. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money. At the end of this video, there's going to be a pop-up video, and in that video, I will be discussing about the S&P 500 index and how it's been rising several points on scheduled dates. As you see here on the graph, these circles are the dates that the pumps have happened, and I use them as examples to show you guys how much the stocks have risen and the S&P 500 index rose on those dates. And the reason why it's rising is due to the fact that the Federal Reserve is pumping the markets. On these dates, the charts and the dates speak for themselves, as we can see it here, and I break it down into more detail in the video. But just to summarize it, on these dates, the S&P 500 rises, and there's individual ticker symbols rising up with it, anywhere from 30 cents to $3 per share. I know it may not seem like a lot, but per share that does add up, and these individual ticker symbols are giving you back profits. These are profits, and like I always say, profits are profits. Whether it's $1 put into the market and you get back $2, you've put in an initial investment and you got back more than what you started with. That's what it's all about. And also in the video, I go into further detail showing you guys these dates and showing you how much it rose. Like for example, this was one of the last pump dates, and the lowest point that it reached was down here at 35.11, and the highest point reached was 35.57. That's like a 40-point jump. And here we're seeing the same thing. It went down to 35.88 and it rose up to about, I'd say, let's see, this is all still in the same day. It rose up to about a total amount of 36.23. When you do the math, that's almost a 40 to 50 point jump, and there's individual ticker symbols rising up with this. Now, I'm not there to guarantee you profits. I'm not there to tell you to buy, sell, or hold anything in particular. I'm just here to inform every single investor on the great news, on the opportunity to maximize profits and minimize losses. You have to do your due diligence and research, but these charts and the dates speak for themselves. I mean, this was probably one of the largest jumps that I've seen in the last couple of pumps, and it was down here at 33.02 and it rose up to about 33.88. That was an 80-point jump. There was probably ticker symbols rising up more than $3 per share on those dates, and even on these dates there's individual ticker symbols rising more than $3 per share. Check it out, see for yourselves, and my best advice is look for ticker symbols that may be resembling the behavior of the S&P 500 index, and you'll be able to go ahead and give it a shot. Check it out. Again, I'm not there to tell you to buy, sell, or hold anything in particular. I'm not there to guarantee you profits. I'm just here to go ahead and share the information along with every single viewer and investor. The video should be popping up soon. If you haven't seen it already, pop up. There is the link down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.